Okay, so it's basically anyone can put any data onto Bitcoin, right? Like you can put, there's arbitrary data fields in Bitcoin transactions that you can stuff extra data into. They've been doing it since forever. I mean, Omni Layer was one of the first
Since
meta
2011.
protocol.
Yeah.
That was in 2011. That's where Tether was first issued. So they've been doing this for a very long time. You're putting basically data into op return, which is one of the arbitrary data fields that says I'm sending X amount of Tether to this destination address, and that is what the Bitcoin transaction says. Then the Omni indexer basically is just reading what's happening on Bitcoin and updating the local balance pretty much. Fast forward a little bit later and you get to ordinals, which were like NFTs on Bitcoin. And all that really was doing was saying, I'm going to put bytecode for JPEGs and attach them to certain Bitcoin block transactions. And then I'm going to track them with an indexer that is assigning users ownership of that block data. So it's a little bit silly, you know, with the ordinal indexer, it's like AR goggles where it allows you to look at the Bitcoin blockchain and say, oh, well, this piece of that block with that piece of information in it, it's owned by this guy. That piece of that block with this piece of information in it, it's owned by that guy. That's what ordinals are. We looked at all these things and said, okay, you know, none of this is functional for what we really want to see on Bitcoin, which is a full landscape of programmability across the board. So we said, okay, there's a couple extra steps that we took. One of them is utilizing TypeScript and utilizing, basically you can create, using Bitcoin's native scripting language, you can create new addresses that have certain types of conditions on them. And you can do so automatically. You already have like basic smart contracts on Bitcoin. They're just not Turing complete. And so we're utilizing some of that stuff to allow for you to deploy smart contracts. So you're making like an inscription, as some ordinals people might be familiar with an inscription. So you're putting data into a Bitcoin block. You're using a wider set of opcodes to actually get this done, but everything's compressed. You're putting the bytecode for a smart contract into a Bitcoin block when you're deploying a smart contract. Automatically, a new Bitcoin address is generated with certain conditions on it. Those conditions include a no spend condition where you're not able to actually send UTXOs out of this address. And that means that no matter who has the private keys to that address, they can't send money out of it, meaning that this is effectively a smart contract address on Bitcoin. The first transaction of this new Bitcoin address is the actual data with the smart contract in it. And then users can then send their contract calls through Bitcoin transactions to that Bitcoin address. And then our indexer client just reads what's happened on chain and gives you a localized state of events. So the biggest difference between Omni or ordinals is that we also have a virtual machine built into each client-side indexer. What does that really mean? That means that you can do more complicated stuff pretty much.